Hey, kia ora koutou. My name is Catherine Beck. I'm a nutritionist, a registered dietitian and an associate professor in the School of Sport, Exercise and Nutrition at Massey University. So, why should you study for a BSc in human nutrition? Have you ever wondered why nutrient requirements change with your life stage? Could what you eat make you faster, perform better, or win you a gold medal at the Olympics? How can you run a marathon at 92 years of age rather than be pushing a Zimmer frame? And could what you eat make you smarter? Nutrition is the science that supports human life and health. Nutritional science is about providing the body with the right essential nutrients in the right quantity to match your body's requirements in order to optimize performance, avoid disease, and to enjoy a long and healthy life. Nutritional science encompasses many disciplines, including physiology, biochemistry, microbiology, public health, psychology, food science, to name but a few. Beyond your studies, how can you contribute with a degree in nutrition? What job can you end up doing? Many of our graduates work in public health. These roles include assessing how the diet of New Zealanders measures up to New Zealanders' particular needs, promoting health through the surveillance of nutritional status, devising and implementing nutrition education strategies, working with community groups to identify nutritional problems and finding effective solutions, working with government departments to develop food and nutrition policies. Some of our graduates have worked in places such as the Heart Foundation, the New Zealand Nutrition Foundation, health promotion agencies, amongst many others. Other graduates work in private practice. This may include working with individuals and groups to provide nutritional advice to prevent disease and to promote health, providing advice for sports teams or corporate clients, or perhaps consulting with the media. Some graduates work with the food industry. These roles may involve working with food companies as a consultant or a full-time advisor in product development and marketing, checking compliance with food legislation, or designing consumer information. Companies where our graduates have worked include Watties, Sanitarium, Beef and Lamb New Zealand, My Food Bag, and Fonterra. Other graduates work in research or as academics, conducting research in a specific area of nutritional interest. This may be done in a university or one of the many Crown institutes, research institutes, or other non-governmental organisations. Some people end up working as educators in the nutrition field. There are other opportunities working for international organisations. This may include working with epidemiologists and statisticians to determine ways of improving population nutrition status, international food security issues, or international nutrition or health-related emergencies. One of the questions we are often asked is, what is the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian? A nutritionist specialises in food and nutrition, nutritional science, and helps people to prevent nutritional deficiencies. They may work counselling individuals and groups on nutritional practices designed to prevent disease and promote health, for example, weight loss, healthy eating, or sports nutrition advice. They may work in the food industry advising on food products or work in nutrition education. You can register as a nutritionist through the New Zealand Nutrition Society. For this, you need a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition and 2 to 3 years work experience or a postgraduate qualification in human nutrition plus 2 years professional work experience. This registration can be renewed by continuing professional development. A dietitian is a nutritionist with a further specialised qualification. In addition, a dietitian is a qualified health professional specialising in nutritional assessment, medical nutrition therapy, and counselling to treat disease and micronutrient deficiencies. There are 3 areas of competence for dietitians. They may work in providing therapeutic nutritional services to patients, for example, in the hospital and in the community. They may work in public health nutrition or community nutrition, or they may work in food service management to manage food production, quality food provision, and service. Other roles may include working in the sports sector to advise on optimal nutrition, or in research and education, or as medical representatives, or in the food industry. You register as a dietitian in New Zealand through the New Zealand Dietitians Board. For this, you require a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition and a Master's of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics, which you can undertake through Massey University. You undergo continuing professional development to continually renew your annual practicing certificate. At school, it's recommended that you take NCEA Level 3 in Chemistry and NCEA Level 3 in Biology, and Statistics is recommended as well. If you have not done these courses at school, you can take summer school introductory courses in Chemistry and Biology. These courses can be done on campus or extramurally. So how do you build your nutrition degree at Massey University? The first year of your nutrition degree involves taking the following papers: Introduction to Food and Nutrition, Human Bioscience, Biochemistry, Science and Sustainability, Chemistry, Mathematics, Statistics, and Foundations of Māori Health. In the second year, you need to take Nutrition and Metabolism, Food Chemistry, 2 courses of Physiology, Biochemistry, and 3 other papers. In the third year, papers include Maternal and Child Nutrition, Nutrition for Sport and Performance, Adult Nutrition and Positive Aging, Nutrition, Communication and Promotion, plus 4 other papers. Many of our graduates have undertaken a double major or minor and combined human nutrition with subjects such as psychology, exercise and sports science, or physiology. If you already have a degree in another subject, we offer a graduate diploma in science endorsed in human nutrition. This includes 8 courses that are taken on campus, and these can be studied part-time. This provides an alternative pathway to postgraduate study. We have a very exciting program in human nutrition at Massey University and would love for you to come and study with us. Below is a snapshot of some of our research facilities. This includes a DEXA and BODPOD for measuring body composition, a cognitive testing suite, and WETS lab facilities, to name a few. If you are interested in studying at undergraduate level, please contact Professor Pamela von Hurst. For postgraduate study, please contact Associate Professor Roseanne Kruger. We look forward to welcoming you to Massey University.
Kia ora koutou. Thanks for checking out studying sport at Massey. My name's Dr. Matt Barnes, and in this session I'm going to take you through the options we have for people interested in studying sport and exercise. Before I get into what we offer, it's worthwhile thinking about why you might want to study sport and exercise. You may be currently doing PE at school and enjoying that side of things, or you may be an athlete who sees yourself moving through into the industry post athletic career, or you just might want to take advantage of the broad, large industry that we have in New Zealand. So the sport and exercise industry broadly contributes to about $10 billion annually to the New Zealand economy. The fitness side of that produces about 500 million alone. So that's growing all the time, and it provides lots of opportunities for jobs and growth professionally and individually. Often when we think about working in sport and exercise, we think about ourselves working with high-performance athletes or top-end sports organisations. For example, here you might see yourself running onto the field to help Sean Johnson recover from one of his many injuries that he's had over his career. However, more likely, you're going to find opportunities to work alongside youth and the elderly. So in New Zealand, there are obvious health issues, primarily related to a lack of physical activity. So in terms of job opportunities, there are a lot of chances to work in the industry to enhance, to promote opportunities around physical activity for a wide variety of individuals. That's not to say that there aren't opportunities working with high performance sport and athletes. There are many opportunities, but it's more likely that you'll end up working alongside the other populations that make up the large portion of New Zealand. So the first option we have in terms of studying sport and exercise here at Massey is the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise. The aims of this degree are to influence youth and promote lifelong physical activity and associated health benefits through physical education. So this is really getting youth and young people to enjoy what they're doing in terms of physical activity and sport, so that they'll want to continue that for the duration of their life. We also look at how to prescribe exercise and physical activity to a wide variety of populations, including youth, the general population, so that's people that aren't athlete or don't have specific illnesses or diseases. But then we also touch on performance and well-being for athletes and those with in the special population. And then the other aspect, the third prong of this approach, is to promote, develop and manage sport and physical activity initiatives at the community and professional organisation levels. So we can see through those three approaches, we can address many of the issues and take the most of the opportunities that the broader industry offers. Now, the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise is a 3-year degree. It can be studied part-time, so it may take you a little bit longer, and that's really ideal for those working perhaps in the industry already or have other commitments. And we realise that many of our students are working part-time, up to 20 to 30 hours a week. So studying part-time is a real advantage. As long as you meet the entry requirements to university, you can come and do the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise. There are no specific entry requirements for this degree. We offer it internally in Palmerston North, and we also offer the Sport Development major by distance. Many of our courses can be done by distance, which is a massive advantage. In particular, the whole of our first year can be done by distance, so if you felt like you wanted to stay at home instead of moving to Palmerston North, that's a real possibility. Now, another advantage of this degree is that all of our students will do a practicum in their third year. And a practicum offers you a chance to apply your knowledge into an area of interest. So, for example, our physical education students may go in and work alongside students in a school. Our sport development students may go into a sport organisation and work alongside the staff there in promoting physical activity or sport. And our exercise prescription students may work with a range of populations to enhance performance and well-being. So, along with giving you an opportunity to apply your knowledge, this also provides you with a good opportunity to do some networking, and many of our students end up getting jobs as a result of this, if they do a good job, of course. So, in the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise, all of our students take these core topics. They're all, as I said, they're all available by distance, and it provides a broad interdisciplinary understanding of the sport and exercise area. So all students will do an intro to physical education. So that sort of gives you an idea of what physical education is, its importance, and how it links to the New Zealand physical education curriculum. An intro to human movement and whole order, so that introduces all aspects of human movement, providing a range of examples, and also introduces the concepts of whole order. You do a health communications course because it's really important to be able to communicate what you're thinking and what you know to a wide range of people. You get some knowledge around the basic training principles to enhance health and performance, an understanding of how the body works in terms of the various biological systems, skeletal system, for example, an understanding of sports sociology. So this puts sport into a perspective and context of where it sits in society. And then you also get an understanding of where and who organises sport in New Zealand through sport organisations and development. Now, alongside this broad understanding of the sport area, you'll go on to specialise in one of three specialisations. Alongside the specialised knowledge that you'll gain, we also work hard to provide these other skills. So we think of these as soft skills. And these make you highly employable, and these include communication skills. So if you're going out into the workforce, you need to be able to communicate to clients or to your colleagues. We provide you with the knowledge to interact with peers and others, and the opportunities to do that through classes. To boost your confidence. Time management's obviously particularly important, so we give you opportunities to develop that over time. And then organisational skills and self-responsibility. And as I say, these are all key factors when you go out into the workforce, but they're also going to help you be more successful at university. Now, the first specialisation in the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise is the exercise prescription specialisation. This is offered internally in Manawatu, and it's ideal for people that are interested in enhancing well-being and sport performance through physical activity. Many of the students go on to become personal trainers or work with sports teams, but a number also go on to work with special populations in injury and disease rehabilitation, advocating health and fitness, and working alongside primary health organisations. So it's all about optimising human health and performance. And in this specialisation, once you've done your 100 level core courses, you'll focus on understanding how the body works during exercise and physical activity, and how we can enhance that to really get the most out of it and ensure that health and well-being and performance are optimised across the lifespan. So we'll do that by giving you the knowledge and skills around fitness assessment and exercise prescription for the three populations: athletic, the general population, and then the special populations. You'll get some sport nutrition, so how are we enhancing performance and well-being through what we eat, and then an understanding of how people will learn and acquire skills so that we can enhance movement efficiency. And then you'll also get a really good understanding of the various sports sciences. So things like exercise physiology, or how the body responds to and adapts to exercise, and biomechanics around how the body produces forces to develop movement. And there's also some exercise psychology in there. The second specialisation is the physical education specialisation. And while this is heavily linked to the New Zealand PE curriculum, so you get an understanding of the importance of physical education as it sits within the New Zealand PE curriculum. It also provides a good understanding of how the body works, how we can use exercise and sport to enhance motor skills and other forms of learning. And many of our students will go on to become teachers either in secondary or primary once they've finished their 3-year degree and gone on to do a further teaching certificate or diploma. Other students may go back to the schools they've come from or other schools and work as sports coordinators, or go out into the community and work for sports organisations as well. So students studying the physical education specialisation, we get a really good understanding of how to use sport, how to teach sport, key aspects of motor learning and control. There's a bit of coaching in there because coaching is very, very similar to teaching. You'll get a good understanding of the sports sciences. So as I said before, this is linked to the current PE curriculum. So if you're going to go back into school and teach PE, you need to have some sort of understanding of biomechanics and the physiology of the body. And then importantly, you get a good understanding of whole order and other aspects related to health and well-being. Many of our students, if they go on to become teachers, they'll do the 1 year primary or secondary teaching qualification. And if you're thinking about becoming a secondary school teacher, then we strongly suggest that you take a second teaching subject. This just strengthens the likelihood that you'll be employed. So for example, you might specialise in physical education and then take a second teaching subject in math or science or social sciences, history, geography, English. So really the choice is up to you in terms of that second teaching subject. So alongside the specialisation courses throughout the degree, we also offer 5 electives. So an elective is a course that you can choose to take from anywhere in the university. So for the PE students, they tend to use their electives for the second teaching subject. They could equally choose to take other sport and exercise courses, as some of the other students would do. So really this major is all around preparing you for a role as a PE teacher or as a sports coordinator. The third specialisation is in sport development, and sport development's a very broad area. So it encompasses using sport to develop communities, to using knowledge and skills to develop sport. So it's multidisciplinary, and as such, it provides lots of opportunities for employment, but also provides a broad understanding of the area. And it's really ideal for students who want to be involved in the initiation, promotion, support and management of physical activity and sport at the voluntary, regional and national organisational levels. So we're talking about working with sports teams, sports organisations. Locally, a good example would be Sport Manawatu. Most regions will have an equivalent body, but also working with organisations like New Zealand Football, High Performance Sport New Zealand, New Zealand Sport, those type of organisations. Additionally, students may go on to become sports coordinators. You'll have the knowledge to become a sport event organiser, to manage sports facilities, get into coaching if that's what you're interested in. And as I say, many of our students go on to roles within national and regional sports organisations with a focus of promoting physical activity and participation in both sport and aspects of physical activity. So in this specialisation, students complete courses around event and facility management, get an understanding of aspects of sport business, sport pedagogy, so again teaching sport and the skills related to sport, aspects of coaching, understanding the role of sport in community development and also the role of the community in developing sport. Some sport psychology in there, so getting an understanding of the importance of sport for people in terms of mental health and well-being. And then you do a course on Te Ao Kore, or the world of movement and health promotion. So you get a very good broad understanding of all aspects really of the sport industry. And then of course, as I said before, all of our students go on to do that 300 level practicum, which is done across 2 semesters and involves the collection of up to 200 hours of experience in a workplace or a series of workplaces to really hone your skills, add some value to your knowledge and provide those networking opportunities. Now, the other opportunity to learn about sport and exercise at Massey comes through the Bachelor of Science in the Exercise and Sport Science specialisation. This is offered out of our Auckland campus and has similar courses to those that we have in the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise. However, the difference comes in the fact that in the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise, you get a broad understanding of all aspects of sport at the 100 level before specialising at 200 level. In the Bachelor of Science, Exercise and Sport Science specialisation, at 100 level, you get a very good understanding of the sciences. Okay, so biology, chemistry, math, physics, those key sciences. And this is really ideal if you've enjoyed science and you want to take that knowledge and apply it to your love and passion for sport and exercise. And this will allow you to understand and relate that knowledge to exercise, sport and sport performance. Alongside the broad science knowledge you'll pick up and the specific knowledge around sport and exercise performance, you're going to hone your scientific skills, and teaching is related to the most current research in the area. So strong research focus around the sciences in this specialisation. So it's a multidisciplinary science-based program. Strong scientific theory complemented really nicely with the application of the sports sciences. So that's one benefit of all of the programs that we offer. Strong theory supplemented and complemented with the practical application, which is really important. If you can't apply something, then there's not much point knowing about it. That's my personal opinion anyway. So topics covered in the exercise and sports science specialisation, alongside the sciences that you do, you'll do exercise physiology. So again, understanding how the body responds and adapts to exercise. Exercise psychology, so what motivates people to participate in exercise, how we can improve that motivation, how we can improve performance and the mental aspects of exercise. Biomechanics, which is all about forces and motion, the application of biomechanical principles to movement. And then again, sports nutrition, so optimizing performance and health through the diet. In terms of jobs coming out of the exercise and sports science specialisation, this is really ideal if you want to take your science further. So if you have a passion for science and you come through, it ideally sets you up for postgraduate study and then into a role as a sports scientist, working alongside athletes for various sporting organisations. Graduates also go on to become trainers working in the fitness industry. You'll have the knowledge and skills to work in industry and government as a health advocate or in the health and safety roles. So really there's a wide variety of opportunities for employment after all of these specialisations. So unlike the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise that doesn't have any specific requirements for entry, other than university entrance of course, the Bachelor of Science requires you to have at least 14 credits in NCEA Level 3 Biology, at least 14 credits in NCEA Level 3 Chemistry, and at least 16 credits in NCEA Level 2 Mathematics. So that's for the Bachelor of Science in general, and that's no different for exercise and sports science. So having that scientific background really sets you up nicely to come in, understand those sciences in first year, and then move through into your specialisation courses. If you don't have all of those credits, there are ways in which you can pick up some introductory knowledge. For example, the Intro Biology course at 100 level would fill in some of the gaps in your knowledge, and likewise there's an Introductory Chemistry course as well. In terms of the structure of this specialisation, in your first year, as I said before, you'll take broad science-based courses, including the science and sustainability of science, applied stats or statistics, biophysical principles, so it's understanding the biology of the body. Functional anatomy, which is a shared course with the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise, where we look at the various structures of the body, the various physiological systems. You'll do some chemistry, get an understanding of further understanding of biology, and you'll do some biochemistry. And as I say, that lays a really nice foundation for moving through into your second year. At second year, you do exercise physiology, biomechanics, motor control and learning, so understanding how the brain works to produce movement and how we learn movement. And then some metabolic biochemistry, so you understand what's going on internally in terms of how the body's using energy and how that's transferred to produce movement and other processes in the body. And then at third year, you do applied sports science. So this is bringing your knowledge together from first and second year and some of your third year courses, and then applying it to various sporting examples. You still build on your knowledge by talking about things like heart rate and GPS systems, going into data collection, research processes and things like that. So sort of drawing all of that knowledge together. You'll do psychology, nutrition for sport and exercise and performance, and then adaptive human physiology. So throughout the 3 years, you're building your knowledge, and then at third year, which is the case across all of our programs, you get to apply that knowledge. So that's what we offer in terms of academic programs, but there's other reasons alongside that to come and study sport at Massey. Firstly, we have a very passionate staff. Many of us have worked in the industry as coaches, trainers. A lot of the staff have been high-performing athletes, and many are still involved in the wider sport area, sport and exercise area, whether that's in administration or sitting on the boards of sport organisations or coaching or administrating at various levels. We're all experienced lecturers, and we all have a very strong passion for what we do. So we can bring real-life examples alongside the sort of research-led teaching that we do. As I said before, our programs are highly practical with a strong theoretical base, so you get the best of both worlds in that sense. And we have strong links to community and industry, and this particularly comes through our third year practicum, where we have those opportunities to go out and work in industry and form those networks. We tend to have small class sizes, so this optimises your learning opportunity and gives you a chance to get to know both your peers but also the staff really well. We take a lot of care of our students, put a lot of effort into making sure that you enjoy your time with us, that you're supported throughout, and that you succeed through your courses. So that's a big focus. Great student culture. All of our students get to know each other really well, and we give you opportunities to work with each other and develop those peer relationships. It can be absolutely crucial and important when you leave university. You never know who you'll bump into or who you might call upon later on in life. Some of those friendships can be very, very valuable. Another benefit is the location. So we're obviously based in Palmerston North, so it's a great location for the Upper South Island, Lower North Island, and then we've got the offering, the Bachelor of Science offering up in Auckland, but we also offer many of our courses by distance. So, as I said before, the whole of the first year can be done by distance, which can make things a bit cheaper if you stay at home in your first year before coming onto campus in your second, which is great. Another benefit, I guess, is particularly for the Bachelor of Sport and Exercise, is that you don't have to decide on a specialisation really until after your first year. So you might come to us not really knowing what you want to study. Do your first year, and then by the end of that you should have a pretty good idea of what you're really starting to feel passionate about. Alongside the academic stuff that we offer and all the other benefits of studying sport at Massey, Massey provides a lot of opportunities to play sport, either socially or competitively. Very strong sporting and cultural club culture here. And then we have great facilities. So we've got human performance labs with sort of state-of-the-art equipment on both the Auckland and Palmerston North campuses, alongside sports fields and various gyms. So thanks for listening. Hopefully you've found some interesting information out of that little presentation. If you want more information, you can contact myself on these details to talk specifically about Bachelor of Sport and Exercise, or you can contact Dr. Claire Badenhorst, based up in Auckland, to discuss the Bachelor of Science, Exercise and Sport Science specialisation. Thanks for your time.
Hi, I'm Wei Hang Chua. I'm a physiologist and lecturer here in the School of Health Sciences on the Manawatu campus in Palmerston North. I teach physiology to science students, nursing students, veterinary science students, and health science students here. So I'd like to talk to you about physiology, that's my subject, and why you might want to consider doing a Bachelor of Science in Physiology. If you're curious about the way the body works in humans or animals, then it might just be the subject for you to study here at Massey University. So you might be wondering, what is physiology? Physiology is a biological science that's concerned with mechanisms and processes inside the body and how they underpin life in an organism. It covers all levels of life, all the way from the basic molecules, the cells, the tissues, and the organs that make up an organism. And it all looks at how they interact and function together. It's an area of science that helps us to relate how the structures in the body relate to their function. It's also a study of how an organism can survive and interact with its external environment and how that's important for survival. So hopefully you'll agree that physiology is a biological science that is exciting and relevant, and it helps us to understand how the body works. In fact, it's one of the only named sciences in the Nobel Prize list every year, where there's a Nobel Prize in medicine and physiology. So I've thrown in a whole range of different types of concepts to do with physiology, but where is it actually relevant to as a subject here at Massey University? So I'll run through two examples of physiology research which we're involved in. So your introduction, or our introduction to the world, normally begins with birth, and sometimes that birth is relatively straightforward, but sometimes it's a little bit more, it's less than straightforward, and drugs need to be used to help manage the process of labour. So this image is taken from some research that I'm involved with here at Massey, and that was undertaken with in collaboration with some obstetricians from a local hospital. So what you're looking at here in this black and white photo is a small section of the uterus. This is an organ that contains a significant amount of muscle in it. And so what we did was, using our understanding of how muscle works, we used video computer analysis to show how the different parts of the wall of the uterus were contracting over a period of 5 minutes during labour. And that's what you can see on the right hand side with those coloured strips. They show how there are waves of contraction and relaxation happening in the wall of the uterus after the administration of a particular drug that's used to help manage that process. So understanding this process helped to inform us about labour and inform our obstetrician colleagues, and it actually showed what happened in the muscle. And that's something that the obstetrician, or possibly the lead maternity carer that's helping to deliver a baby, they don't actually see normally. For our second example, you may have heard the messaging around how good diet and regular exercises helps us to maintain healthy bones. And so here in this image, you can see what we're doing here is growing osteocytes in the laboratory using this equipment that's on the right-hand side of the figure. So osteocytes, if you don't know what they are the primary bone cell in our skeleton. So what we did was we exposed these bone cells to different types of nutrients that we might get in our bloodstream from the diet, and we also exposed them to forces to help simulate the effects of exercise. The cells, they reacted to some of those things that we exposed them to, and they released different types of factors that we were able to measure. So these factors are known to be involved with processes that lead to changes in the skeleton, and this tells us about what might be happening in our body. So hopefully you know now that physiology is the study of function in an organism, whether that be our body or that of some other type of species. So why study physiology? It gives us a basic understanding of how the body functions. And there are all sorts of processes that happen in our bodies that help to keep us healthy. Those processes change over life as we age. And knowing how that normal function occurs is a useful benchmark to understand how possibly things might be going wrong when we have some sort of disease or disorder. And that also helps to inform us how we might possibly manipulate or use strategies to hopefully design treatments or drugs to help remedy or manage those diseases and disorders. So, as mentioned before, knowing about how the body performs under extreme conditions or changes of environment, whether that be a seal that stays under the water for more than 1 hour on a single breath, or how your body shivers to keep warm. Those are all aspects of physiology studied for either science sake or for health sake, in terms of learning how to manage and keep the body in an optimal state where disease doesn't occur. So here at Massey, the physiology courses are designed to provide you with all of this knowledge and different sort of format or skill formats, and there is also a significant laboratory course, because this is a field which is mostly done either in the laboratory or in the field, and you're usually measuring things in your own body or somebody else's body. So hopefully it sets you up for a career in the animal, human or biological sciences. So why study physiology at Massey University? Here at Massey, the researchers that are here that do research into physiology conduct research across a wide range of different areas, things like musculoskeletal health, the physiology of nutrition, metabolic disease, pain research, animal welfare, and also the physiology of wildlife. So there's a really, really wide breadth of researchers, meaning there's a good team of teachers there to in relevant areas to guide you through the subject. Okay, so the big question is, what sort of jobs does the Bachelor of Science in Physiology lead to? So our recent graduates usually head off into one of 4 different areas, those being either research, teaching, healthcare, or science roles in the government or private sector. So I'll pick on a couple of those. So Bachelor of Science in Physiology provides a really excellent foundation to move on into a variety of different roles in the healthcare sector. So if I pick on medical physiologists, so this is a role that's employed by a district health board, a DHB, and two examples of medical physiologists are cardiac physiologists and respiratory physiologists. So they often perform a lot of the diagnostic tests that on people who are referred from GPs to some sort of medical specialist for exploratory testing. So that's one area that quite a few of our graduates have gone off into. Usually that involves a job in a DHB which is paid, but they do ongoing sort of on-the-job training. Other graduates have moved off into technical roles or sales roles or media roles in other sectors related to science, while a lot also move into teacher training. And for those people who can't decide, or who decide that they're not quite ready to leave university yet, and I would include myself as one of those, some people stay around for postgraduate research where they do maybe a master's or a PhD, and that's usually done at university here in New Zealand or overseas, or it's done at one of the Crown Research Institutes, something like Ag Research or Plant and Food or NIWA. So let's say that the Bachelor of Science in Physiology sounds like you. So what's involved? Well, a Bachelor of Science is 3 years full-time study. Full-time study means 8 courses per year or 120 credits per year. You either study physiology as a major or a minor in the Bachelor of Science. So you can do a major on the Albany campus, or you can do a minor in the Palmerston North campus or the Albany campus. So I better explain what a major and minor is. So in the Bachelor of Science degree, you nominate a subject that you are specialising in. So that could be a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry or a Bachelor of Science in Psychology or Zoology. We obviously think that you should do it in physiology, but at the end of the day, what it means is that if you do a said major in, let's say, physiology, in each of your second and third year, you need to do 4 prescribed physiology courses in each of those 2 years. A minor is where you are doing a secondary subject alongside your major specializing topic. So this usually only requires 2 prescribed courses in each of your first and second year. Your second and third year. So as an example, you could do a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition with a minor in Physiology. Or you could do a Bachelor of Science in Physiology and your minor could be Human Nutrition. It just changes how many of your specialist subject, how many courses you do versus how many courses you do for the minor one. So you can create a major and minor sort of combo for your Bachelor of Science that suits your particular interests or your sort of career goals, depending on what you're interested in. So here I've listed a couple of different common combinations that people do. Usually human nutrition or exercise and sports science, zoology, ecology, and I think I've also got some of the molecular cellular sciences there as well as psychology. So what are the entry requirements for the BSc in physiology? So you should get a sufficient number of credits in NCEA Level 3 biology and chemistry. Maths or physics are helpful, but they're not essential. And if you find that you don't have the right Level 3 credits, then there are foundation courses in the summer that you can do to bring you up to speed. Now, the first year of the Bachelor of Science, if it's sort of biologically orientated, is quite generic. So you have a little bit of time to decide about your major and minor. before the second semester of your first year, if you decide that the one that you've locked yourself into at the start of your first year isn't quite what you envisaged. So I'd just recommend contacting your academic advisor at the university, and they can advise you on what sort of changes you can make in terms of your subject. Quite often you can change from one degree into another. So let's say, for instance, you signed up for the Bachelor of Veterinary Science in Palmerston North here, and maybe you just decided that cows and sheep weren't your thing. You can, in semester 2, quite easily shift into a Bachelor of Science, and physiology is one of those that's easy to slip into because physiology and veterinary science kind of go together really, really nicely in terms of the body and function. Okay, in first year, the key courses to take for physiology are 214101, which is called Human Bioscience. That's in semester 1. Now, for those of you with an interest in animals, there's an alternative. You can do 199103, Animals in the Environment. That's also a semester 1 course. So this is an alternative entry into the more advanced physiology courses. Those two are available on both the Albany and the Manawatu campus. Now, on the Manawatu campus, where you can only do physiology as a minor, you can also keep progressing in physiology if you do the third option, which is 117155, which is the Introduction to Animal Science. And doing any of those 3 courses in the Manawatu are prerequisites to the second and third year physiology courses. So in second and third year, we get into a little bit more detail and pick apart the different organ systems in mammals. So things like the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, things like the brain, the respiratory system, digestive system. So we're fairly exhaustive and we go through everything. And then as we get into third year, or 300 level, which is essentially the last year of the Bachelor of Science, things get a lot more specialised and we start to look at things in much finer detail. So if you'd like more information or you'd like to talk to one of us about your options, don't hesitate to contact either Dr. Martin Dickens on the Albany campus or myself here in Palmerston North. Our email addresses are listed here, or you can find our phone numbers on the Massey University website if you use the search tool and you type in or look us up by name. If you'd like to check out what's involved with studying the Bachelor of Science in Physiology at Massey in your own time, go to the Massey website, www.massey.ac.nz. Click on the search button, type in the word physiology, and then click on the Bachelor of Science Physiology link, which is I think about the second or third link down, and that will take you to the page where you can see what the course requirements are, what the entry requirements are, and different contacts. I think we have a couple of past students there, and they detail how they went through the degree and how interesting they found it and what they're doing now. So I think that's all. So thanks very much for your time. Hope to hear from you in the future, but good luck with your decisions.
Kia ora koutou, ko Hannah Mooney tōku ingoa.
Kia ora koutou, my name is Polly Young. We are the Bachelor of Social Work Program Coordination team. Today it's our pleasure to be talking to you about the brief description about our program. So I guess to start with, you may wonder, what is social work? Well, social work is actually an internationally recognised program, and it's not just a practice discipline, but it's also a strong academic discipline. Social work it's about working with people, and it's about supporting people, and also addressing some of the issues in a wider society and in a government sector as well. So if you are interested in social work, you often come in with some sort of strong principles such as empowerment, human rights and social justice. We have, in New Zealand, Aotearoa New Zealand, we're very lucky in the sense that we have a strong Māori Indigenous principle that underpin our research and our practice program.
And just in this slide, you'll see a photo here, and what that's actually showing is some recent graduates of ours celebrating an award ceremony and recognising their contribution to the program.
Yeah.
So, as Polly said, we are a value, underpinned by values, our profession. And as she also mentioned, whilst we're a national profession, we belong to an international group as well. So that's what you would be, I guess, signing up to in some ways. So thinking about yourself now and what kind of qualities you might have, and whether that relates to the qualities of the profession. This slide kind of gets you to think about, it's a good fit if you. So dream of helping people from all walks of life. So you might be someone in your family that people go, oh, you're a really great helper, or you're a really great listener. And some members of your family or friends might come to you for support around different things. So lots of our students who do kind of come to us and join our program, that's sort of the starting moment of it. Or as Polly also mentioned, perhaps you are quite passionate about injustices in your community or in your or nationally or internationally, and those things kind of drive you to be quite outspoken about issues. And so, again, it's about thinking about an applied program, a way to get into a career where you can think of ways to make a difference.
And the good thing is, it's not just about being interested in practice. Social work does take you to the policy level as well, because you have to understand the wider structure. So if you're also interested in policy and making some changes at a macro level, this may be a good fit for you.
The other thing that our program does, and lots of our students give this type of feedback, is that it really encourages you to personally grow and develop. You look at yourself in ways that you perhaps never have before. So also, if you're open to doing that, then this could also be the program for you. So this slide really just looks at some of the practical things, I guess, practical sides, because we can look at a theoretical, practical definition of social work, but what does that look like when you might be out in practice, and we are going to talk about different fields of practice that you might work in as well, because for lots of people they think of social work as just working in Oranga Tamariki, for example. So we are information gatherers, so we have a big assessment role. We try and understand a situation and what's going on for somebody that we're working with. So we learn lots of skills around what that looks like. How do we do that? How do we do that whilst we work in alongside people and communities and whānau? We help create plans. So a big value underpinning social work is about social change. And whilst we recognise social change is sometimes done, as like Polly said, at the macro level, so, broader through bigger systems, through governments, through legislation, we also recognise that sometimes that's at an individual level, that people can work to make changes for themselves for the betterment of their own life and those around them. So we can work in alongside people, make plans, advocate for them, help them to access resources, and help them to, I guess, grow and develop the skills to go on and do that for themselves. So it's not always about us doing that. We also learn in our program around ways to intervene, skills around models of practice, how it is that we can be ourselves in our practice, but also learn from the theories and research that's being done around the best way to engage with people from, like I said, all walks of life before that.
Yeah. I think the really sort of the strength of our program is that we do highlight a strong underpinning in Indigenous and Māori framework, and we also increasingly addressing a lot of issues for cultural diversity, cultural and social, sort of diversity, such as working with different ethnic groups, working with non-binary, transgender, LGBTQ communities. So I think that in this particular program, you're not just learning about how to do things, but also thinking about some of those, contested nature, or the higher level of thinking that might be able to contribute working with so many different diverse groups. So it's not just that we're teaching you a recipe, we're actually teaching our student how to think critically. Yeah.
Nice. And there are some other examples on there, some of which we've covered a little bit already, or some of which we might continue to cover. But we also, I guess, it's that access to resources thing as well. So social workers are strong networkers and connecting people to those resources.
Yeah.
I think that kind of covers things.
Absolutely. That's great.
So this slide is a picture of one of our graduates who's also doing some postgraduate study with us. And that's what we also create, is this whole thing around life learning.
Yeah.
And whilst you might sign up for an undergraduate degree, you may find yourself later on down the track doing postgraduate studies. And that's built into the social work profession, that we continue to professionally develop, personally and professionally develop, because it all kind of gets combined. And that's, in connection to mandatory social work and being a registered social worker as well. So this is Keisha Whakaro, who currently works in care and protection social work. I just thought it might be nice to put her up here, and you might see her posters around the place as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So earlier on, Hannah talked about there are different fields of practice that social worker can engage into. So this particular slide, you can see that there are many fields, many areas that you can engage. You can work in some of the government sector, like Oranga Tamariki for care and protection, or youth justice, or you can work in DHB, but I think DHB is being disestablished, so we'll be working in a new health authority sector as a health social worker. There are many non-government organisations in the community, for those working who are interested working with older people, family and children, and if you're interested, as early on said, that you might be interested in looking at a macro level, how social policy, can help with changes, in a structural level. So you might be working in ministry as a policy analysis or advisor. But at the same time, you can also continue doing your postgrad study, like Keisha in the previous slide, pursuing her Master of Social Work. So that those skills might inform them to look at being in a senior position in policy area, team leaders, and even more opportunity to pursue it in sort of academic teaching. So we often involve a lot of our graduate to come in to share their experience with our students as well. And you can also do project or research work that are relating to social work, social policy. Our degree is actually very versatile. It's highly recognised in other countries such as Australia, UK, and we have students who embark on international development, going overseas to do some of the sort of community development type work in Cambodia, other Asian country as part of the their placement, or even after they graduate. So there are plenty of opportunities. It's not just a very traditional, you work in sort of care and protection and government. I think increasingly we're seeing more NGO, different charitable organisation out there. Even our graduate has established their own charitable organisation, and they've been employing some of our graduate as well. In this particular slide, you'll see a photo of one of our students. His name is Thomas Reed. He's also our Merv Hancock award recipient. His passion is actually in hip hop dancing, so he's using that skill along with his social work degree to work closely with young people to help them to, for their betterment of their well-being in the future.
So, why, I hear you asking, would you study at Massey? We are actually the longest running social work program in Aotearoa. We weren't the first, but we are the longest. And, we celebrated, I think, 40 years around the 2016 mark, so we're still going.
Yeah.
And if you kind of think that maybe that sounds like, or maybe we're a little bit old or a bit old-fashioned, we're actually looking at some really exciting new curriculum design changes that are coming up over, being introduced gradually over the next 4 years. So we're quite excited about some of those changes, we have quite a good reputation, and we often get that feedback, not just from students who've finished and heard bits and pieces out in the community, but we hear that from the agencies that we're engaged with, where we place students on their placements. So it is a 4-year degree, which again, some people think, why would I want to do a 4-year degree when I can do a 3-year degree? And that's because it's an applied program. So around about a year of that, you're actually out on placement. Or it actually doesn't work out to be a year, it's less. So if you're breaking it down into semesters. In your second year, you get a little bit of a taste of that, where you do 50 hours of voluntary work. In third year, in your second half of the year, you're on placement in an agency, working with a registered social worker, or being
organisation.
looked after. And in the fourth year, it's the same. We offer, we have 2 campuses that teach social work. So that's the Manawatu campus and the Albany Auckland campus. We also have our distance learning program is very strong. I was just going to say, also we have the MASW, which wouldn't necessarily apply to you if you're thinking about doing an undergraduate degree or doing the BSW, but something just to kind of plug in here, because sometimes people go and do a degree in something else but then decide they want to do social work, and it can be a master's program that helps them get into it.
That's right, yeah. You're lucky here today because Hannah is actually a graduate of the Bachelor of Social Work degree, and I'm the graduate of the Applied Master. So we come into kind of different perspectives. So even if you decided that you want to pursue a generic degree like a BA in Education or Psychology, you can still apply to study the Applied Master. It's for those students who haven't got a social work degree, and that's 2 years full time. So yeah, but our Bachelor of Social Work degree have 2 intakes: first year and first semester and second semester. Yeah.
And you can do it full time or part time.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So in this picture, it shows Merv Hancock and Ephra Garrett, and those are the awards that we do at the end of the degree, and what Polly mentioned before in the very first photo. Yeah. And we credit them, I guess, with founding our program all those years ago. So they're kind of like our
founders. Our very important people who established the program, and
founders,
yeah.
And we aim to continue to work to some of the values the values that they set in place for our program.
That's right. So you might want to know, so what are my study options? So we have 2 campuses, so one in Albany, which is in Auckland, and then we have the Manawatu, which is down in Palmerston North. So a student can choose to study as an internal student up in Albany, so we're offering block mode. Block means that over the semester you will be attending courses through a block of, it could be 2 days a week or 2-3 days a week, depending on the course's schedule. And we aim to look at a family-friendly kind of timing. So the block might start at 9:30 in the morning and then finish at 2 or 2:30. So then people will be able to drive back to their destination. As you know, Auckland is a very busy city. We have the Palmerston North campus, the Manawatu, and Manawatu we offer internal study mode for first and second year. Some of the second year courses are also in block or distance, but we have our huge distant program where that will suit students who might be living in Invercargill, Whakatane, Te Puke, who might not have a direct access to a university or institution. So you can do it in your own time, but for the block and distance, students are required to attend compulsory contact workshops. So how we organise them is, if you're a full-time student, you'll be expected to be on Palmerston North campus 1 or 2 weeks per semester. But it works really well because then, for a lot of those students who might not have direct access to a campus, they can work during the time and then get some time off from their employer or arrange time in advance, so then they know when they need to come to Palmerston North to meet with us face-to-face. Face-to-face contact is one of the requirements for the Social Work Registration Board, in order for a student to be able to complete successfully to get a social work degree.
And I was just going to say, if you're listening to that right now and you're thinking, oh, that doesn't sort of fit in with my life, or that sounds hard, or I'm not sure about getting there, and give us a call, because, sometimes I think it's just being able to understand what the requirements actually look like. And that can be helpful, and sometimes we can come up with different varieties of options for you to suit.
Yeah. So we'll probably end the presentation today. We just want to kind of tell you what you need to do, if you're interested to apply. So in this particular slide, there's an application form via the website, and we'll ask you to provide your most updated CV and a brief personal statement, maybe 300 to 500 words, just to tell us why you're interested to become a social worker. We also require 2 character referees, so you need to nominate 2 people. Needs to be not your family members or your flatmate or friends. We also, need to complete a consent form, so then we can do a police check. If you and in the application, you also need to disclose and align to the fit and proper. So if you do in the past, it might have had some issues with the law or the criminal justice system, so you need to kind of let us know. If you are a international student, or your previous degree is not in English, so you will need to fulfill either IELTS requirement of 6.5 across all bands, or TOEFL IBT score of 85 or higher, with a writing score of 22. But again, if you have any inquiries, you can contact us or the Massey Contact Centre. They'll be able to give you all these details. Lastly, we just want to kind of let you know that if you, after listening to and watching the presentation, if you still have any other questions, we've got our details here. So again, I'm Polly, so I'm the BSW Program Coordinator Lead, and I've got Hannah Mooney here. She's also one of the Program Coordinators, and we also have Dr. Paule Rufio up in Albany. So if you have any question, you can get in touch with us, or if you ring up Massey Contact Centre or email, they will direct your information to us, or direct your call to us as well. So, great. Thank you so much for spending some time listening to our program introduction. So we look forward to see you in our program at some stage.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, nau mai haere mai. Thanks for joining our info session on the Bachelor of Nursing at Massey. I'm Marla Burrow, and I'm a lecturer from our Palmerston North campus. When you study nursing at Massey, you'll be part of a program renowned for its first-class nursing curriculum and for educating nursing students who contribute to a wide range of healthcare workplaces. Our degree is so highly respected and recognized that both New Zealand and overseas employers hire most of our graduates within 6 to 8 months of finishing our 3-year nursing program. Most people who want to become a nurse have these characteristics. They're a problem solver, an inquirer, and they want to make a difference. So if you think this is you, then nursing could be a great career for you. Nurses have a real interest in the health and well-being of population groups and communities. There are a variety of opportunities open to you, with nurses taking on advanced and extended roles to meet the needs of diverse populations. There's a clear need for assessment of patients in rural and remote settings. Nurse practitioners are able to provide an equivalent level of service in these settings, and indeed patients identify that they experience excellent healthcare assessment from a nurse practitioner. We're privileged to work with so many different people in different cultures and settings. And working with means working with our clients, our patients, as well as working with our interprofessional colleagues. Wherever there are people, there are health needs, and nurses are needed. Many nurses are involved with NGOs and policy creation in New Zealand. For example, the Asthma Foundation, Diabetes New Zealand, Cancer Society, and the Ministry of Health, just to name a few, and nurses are employed in all of these organizations. Massey University offers a high-quality program from a bachelor's of nursing all the way through to a PhD in nursing, and includes many postgraduate opportunities such as the nurse practitioner training program. Our graduates are sought after, and in fact, Massey nursing graduates have held many of the leadership positions within nursing and related health roles in New Zealand and overseas. A previous chair of the International Federation of Nurses was Frances Hughes, who was a Massey University graduate, and our previous head of school was chair of the Nursing Council of New Zealand. We consider ourselves to be a national school of nursing, as we have both undergraduate and postgraduates across New Zealand. Within the community, you'll find Massey nursing graduates in district nursing, Plunkett, Oranga Tamariki, public health, and primary health organizations. Nurse practitioners often practice in primary care settings. They're expert nurses who work within a specific area of practice, incorporating advanced knowledge and skills. They practice both independently and in collaboration with other healthcare professionals to promote health, prevent disease, and assess, diagnose, and administer therapies and manage people's health needs. The Massey University School of Nursing has a nurse practitioner training program, which makes a major contribution to the health and well-being of people in New Zealand. You will have seen the important role that nurses are taking, along with their healthcare colleagues, in the current COVID-19 pandemic responses. We have just recognized Florence Nightingale's 200th year anniversary, and 2020 was the International Year of the Nurse and Midwife. Nurses globally number over 20 million, with 56,000 nurses making a difference in the everyday lives of New Zealanders. As the nursing workforce is aging, and it's predicted that over 50% of our present New Zealand workforce will retire by 2035, the world needs 9 million nurses and midwives to achieve universal health coverage by 2030, so our Bachelor of Nursing graduates will be much needed in the years to come. Most people want to know, what will I earn at the end of this degree? The current new grad salary is around $54,000. Incomes are variable and depend on where you work, how long you've been working, your years of experience, and where in the country you work, with some salaries up to $130,000. The Ministry of Health offers a voluntary bonding scheme to encourage newly qualified health professionals to work in the communities and specialties that need them the most, and to retain essential health professionals in New Zealand. The bonding scheme provides additional payments to either your student loan or your personal income for 3 to 5 years, and currently that amount is about $2,800 per tax year. So those schemes, if those that are on the scheme receive annual payments to help repay their student loans or as a top-up income. The 2020 identified areas are aged residential care and older adults health services, mental health, hospital and community, including addiction services, district nursing, Oranga Tamariki and Well Child, primary healthcare and practice nursing, Maori or Pacific providers, and within specific DHBs such as Auckland, Counties Manukau, Waitemata, Taranaki, Wairoa, West Coast, and South Canterbury District DHBs. Once our nursing students have finished the Bachelor of Nursing, they sit for the Nursing Council of New Zealand state exam. Since Massey only has one intake per year, our third-year students sit the exam in November each year. There are 2 exams. They are both multiple choice questions, and a successful pass means that they are registered nurses with the Nursing Council of New Zealand. All of our third-year nursing students from last year have successfully passed our state final exams, and there has been 100% employment of these students. The Bachelor of Nursing is a selected entry degree, and for your application, you will need general university entrance. You'll also need to submit a 300-word personal statement, your CV, 2 referee reports, and you'll find some of the other details on the Massey University website. You should consider voluntary work, working as a nursing aide or a healthcare assistant, lifeguard, or St. John volunteer. Voluntary work or healthcare assistant work is really useful and identifies that you're passionate and committed, but it also gives you an opportunity to find out if nursing is really for you. You'll need to have completed a first aid certificate, CPR training, and have completed the immunization requirements before entry to the BN program. There are other requirements that you can actually talk about, or you can actually inquire about if you have any questions, and that includes English language tests, dating, or the time you've got your CPR or first aid. So please, if you have any questions, just contact us directly. So there's some of the lecturers we have some of the best lecturers and that have been registered across the country. We have about 24 teaching staff and also have many nursing specialists who work in the undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Our last performance-based research funding round, our School of Nursing was ranked first as the leading research institution in nursing in New Zealand based on the average quality scores. Our research is diverse, informs policy, and is represented in every aspect of healthcare service delivery. Massey Nursing is internationally ranked in the top 150 schools of nursing. We have approximately 550 BN students enrolled across the 3 campuses. So if you're considering leaving home to study for Massey, there is the Bachelor of Nursing offered in Albany, Palmerston North, and Wellington. Our library service is fantastic. It's a world-class facility. Staff are eager to assist in any way possible, and there is academic writing and IT support as well. There's a variety of student accommodation options across the 3 campuses, and they include either catered or self-catered packages. Our degree is designed to include a range of learning environments and learning styles. Practice in our nursing simulation labs is a key fixture in preparing our students for clinical placements. Here's a range of subjects that will be covered in the Bachelor of Nursing. These include pharmacology, pathophysiology, biosciences, human development. And it's quite a nice range that you'll get, not just the nursing skills. So all of that supports your learning. Our aim is to prepare graduates who will be knowledgeable and skillful as professional nurses and able to practice in a range of settings. Massey University nursing students are equipped with contemporary knowledge, skills, and attitudes which enable them to promote well-being, assess wide-ranging care needs, and undertake skilled nursing practice that achieves the health goals of individuals found out in communities. Older people can be more vulnerable to loneliness and social isolation and are at a greater risk of a range of health and social issues, which can be directly linked to loneliness. Our students are caring for older adults, living in aged care residential facilities, and are in hospitals. Students learn about assessing and caring for physical, social, whānau, spiritual, and psychological well-being. Clinical placements are where nursing comes alive, and you will learn how nurses think, act, and interact with people, and how to communicate effectively to provide excellent nursing care. During years 1 and 2, you'll be working with nurses in DHB hospital environments and in the community and in primary health care. For example, Plunkett, A&E, GP clinics. These nurses will be your preceptors and mentors, and this continues throughout your BN program. In year 3, there are 2 distinguished semesters. One is focused on people requiring acute nursing care in hospitals and in inpatient mental health. The second is a pre-grad transition semester of 9 weeks in an area that you would like to work in. At the end of this, you will sit your Nursing Council of New Zealand state final exam. Once you finish your degree, there are many postgraduate opportunities and career options. Nurse entry to practice year 1 programs and postgraduate study in nursing. So career pathways within nursing include safety and risk management, clinical specialists, research, education, advisory to the Ministry of Health, and management. So enrollments are now open for the Master of Clinical Practice, which is a postgraduate pathway to becoming a registered nurse. So if you already have a degree, then this 2-year full-time course available via block courses could be what you're looking for. This degree has intakes twice a year. When you're a registered nurse, you will have the option to work around the world. This past year, we had the benefit to teach alongside Andrew Cameron, who is a Massey University Distinguished Alumnus. In 2004, he was named Australian Nurse of the Year, and he was one of the few New Zealanders to be awarded the Red Cross Florence Nightingale Medal, which is given for courage and devotion to the sick and disabled or to civilian victims of conflicts. He has worked on eradicating polio from southern Afghanistan, and a typical day for him might see him travel to international military bases to assess the health of POWs or train Afghani taxi drivers in first aid, which is vital in regions where ambulances are scarce. or check prisons for any signs of in-detention abuses. Andrew makes sure detainees are properly cared for and according to the Geneva Conventions. And Andrew is a nurse. You can fulfill your dreams and be a lifesaver. We hope to see you in our program next year. Thank you. Bye for now.
Kia ora koutou, no mai, haere mai, good evening, or actually good evening, wherever you are anyway. So welcome to our presentation on health science at Massey University. My name is Wyatt Page, and joining me today is Beth Mallard, who's the co-director of the Bachelor of Health Science. In this presentation, we'll answer the question, why health science, why you might want to do it. We'll look at employment opportunities in health, and we'll cover in detail our Bachelor of Health Science program. We'll also look at some of the pathways to this degree before finally summarising the presentation. So why might you be interested in studying health science? Why is it that some people are healthy and others not? And what does it take to prevent disease and improve health? You may have asked yourself, well, why has disease and health improved over time in populations in general and perhaps in specific populations? Well, health science will help you answer these questions. Here's a couple of, or three did you knows. Did you know that New Zealand has amongst the highest rates of asthma in the world? Approximately 1 in 7 or 13% of New Zealand children have asthma. However, children who are exposed to more green space and are likely to have less incidence of asthma. And this effect is strongest in populations which have plenty of native trees and plants available to them. Also, did you know that in 2019, almost 240,000 claims were made to ACC? So these are injury claims. And the industries claiming the highest in this were agriculture, fishery, and forestry. And finally, did you know that in New Zealand we have approximately 60,000 stroke survivors? And one of the best ways to recover from a stroke is a really good rehabilitation program. So what are some of the 21st century health challenges? The world's attention for the past 12 months has been focused on the COVID pandemic. And this continues to rage in many parts of the world, and its effects are likely to continue for many years to come. It's also unlikely to be the last pandemic. Against this backdrop, we have climate change that's going to need a concerted effort from the world to avoid some of the worst predicted outcomes. Food production and distribution continues to be a major health issue. And on paper, there is in fact enough food to feed the current population of the world. But in practice, due to distribution and other issues, it's estimated that up to 30% of the production is wasted. And finally, global urbanisation continues to accelerate, with more and more people living in more densely populated areas. And this results in a significant number of health issues, from air pollution to water pollution, from sanitation to vector-borne diseases. I'm now going to pass you to Beth to tell you about employment opportunities in health and introduce our Bachelor of Health Science.
Kia ora. The health sector is the largest workforce in New Zealand. It's larger than the engineering, technology and telecommunications sectors combined. Demand for healthcare is growing, and New Zealand doesn't produce enough health graduates. Nearly half of our health workforce is trained overseas, so the career prospects in health are excellent. Massey has a suite of undergraduate programs in health science. We have entry-level certificates in public health and in mental health and addiction, and these are covered in one of our other presentations. We also have the Bachelor of Health Science program, which has 7 majors and is the focus of this presentation. And there's also 2 graduate diplomas for those of you who have an existing degree. So what is Massey's Bachelor of Health Science? Well, it's not a medical degree. It involves the multidisciplinary study of factors affecting health. You'll get to study basic science and social sciences, you'll get to study both Māori health and public health, and all of this with the aim of preparing you to address the big challenges facing individuals, communities and nations in health. The Bachelor of Health Science consists of 24 15-credit courses, which is the equivalent of 3 years of full-time study or up to 8 years of part-time study. It has a large core of 12 compulsory courses that everybody does. Each major consists of 8 specialist courses, and this leaves up to 4 courses for electives where you get to choose. Here is the structure of the core courses. It includes 3 courses in the Health Science Foundations, 3 covering the Foundations of Public Health, and 2 courses in the Foundations of Māori Health. In Year 1, you'll study these 6 core courses, plus 2 elective courses. In Year 2, you have these 4 core courses and the first 4 majoring courses. And then finally, in Year 3, there are 2 more core courses, the second 4 majoring courses, and space for 2 more electives. One of these electives can be used for the work integrated learning that will typically involve workplace placements. Professional practice is also integrated into many of the majoring courses. The Bachelor of Health Science is available fully by distance using online blended learning. There's some flexibility to change your major after the first year, and for those of you who want an on-campus experience, some of our core courses are available on at least one of our 3 campuses. And some majors also have courses that have a compulsory contact workshop. This is an on-campus, face-to-face component with a strong experiential flavour. I'll now hand you back to Wyatt.
4 of our 7 majors can be grouped under the broad cluster of health promotion and advocacy. The first of these majors is the major in health promotion, which is about enabling people and communities to take positive action to improve their health and well-being. Well complementing this is our major in health services navigation. It enables you to develop skills and understanding that can assist others in navigating the complexities of our health care system. Mental health and addiction is our newest major in this program. Central to it is the Māori approaches to hauora and mental health and addiction. And from next year onwards, with appropriate elective selection, you can apply for provisional accreditation to DAPANS. Remember what it is, the Drug and Alcohol Practitioners Association of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Psychology rounds out this cluster. It enables you to explore the psychological aspects of health and the relationship between mental and physical health. The remaining 3 majors can be grouped under the cluster of environmental and complex interaction of factors affecting health. Environmental health is all about health protection. So it's about protecting people from environmental factors both in the natural and the built environment. Our program is recognised by the Ministry of Health as meeting the requirements to become either an environmental health officer working for a local council or a health protection officer working in a public health unit. Occupational health and safety is all about health protection in the workplace. It's about reducing hazards and risks and improving the health quality of workplaces. Our qualification has international accreditation to the Institution of Occupational Safety and Health in the United Kingdom. And finally, completing this cluster, we have integrated human health. If you study integrated human health, you get an opportunity to explore the factors that determine human health, including sleep, exercise, nutrition, and genetics, and environmental factors. So, do you want to dip your toes in tertiary study? Are you already in industry but don't have a qualification in health? Then a good place to start would be one of our certificates. We have a certificate in public health and a certificate in mental health and addiction. They consist of 4 courses which are studied part-time, usually over a 1-year period. At the end of completing a qualification, this provides you an ability to staircase into our degree program. Perhaps you already have an existing degree and you want to pivot to a new career in health, then one of our graduate diplomas may fit your bill. We have a graduate diploma in environmental health, and we also have a graduate diploma in occupational health and safety. They consist of 8 specialised courses. They can be studied as 1 year full-time study or up to 3 years part-time. The majority of our students study this part-time while working and changing careers. If you're looking at finances, if you're new to tertiary study, then you will be eligible, or should be eligible, for the first year fees program that the government has organised. But also, if you're enrolled in our Certificate of Mental Health and Addiction or our Bachelor of Health Science majoring in Mental Health and Addiction or Psychology, then you may be eligible for the Te Rau Puawai Murray Mental Health Workforce Development Scholarships. Here on this slide, it staircases the full range of qualifications we have in health science. You might begin part-time in the certificate program or go direct into our bachelor's degree program, choosing one of our 7 diverse majors. If you have an existing degree, then you might choose to move into health via one of our graduate diplomas. If after some time working in industry, you decide that you want to develop your career, then you might choose to enrol in one of our postgraduate programs. You could start with our 1 year postgraduate diploma, or alternatively you might choose to go direct into our Masters of Health Science or our Masters of Public Health. And perhaps while you're doing this, you might find that there's one particular area that you want to research into the future. So afterwards, you might look to enrol in Massey's doctoral PhD program to enable you to gain specialist skills in that area. So in summary, Massey's Bachelor of Health Science has 7 exciting majors covering a diverse range of areas, and one of those areas is bound to suit you. If you have an existing degree, then our graduate diplomas may be a good fit if you're wanting to move into the health sector. And if you simply want to dip your toes in health and get a qualification, then one of our certificates may suit you really, really well. All of these programs are available by distance, online, with flexible blended delivery. They leverage off Massey's long-standing experience as a leader in distance learning and education. There is strong pastoral care and high-quality resources to support your learning no matter which program you choose. And finally, there is a great and rewarding opportunities available to you at the completion of your qualification. If you have any other questions, then please send an email to School of Health Sciences, all one word, at massey.ac.nz, or alternatively go to the Massey website and search for Health Science. Tēnā koe.
Kia ora everyone, my name's Christine and I'm here to talk with you a little bit about the Certificate in Public Health and whether that might be a good fit for you. So I'm wondering what's made you interested in this certificate. Perhaps it's because of COVID-19. We've certainly had a big emphasis on public health around the world over the last year or so with COVID-19. And I've certainly heard much more mention of public health in these last 12 months than I've heard for a very long time, especially epidemiology. But there is more to public health than that. And maybe you're one of these people that's interested in being part of the fence at the top of the cliff rather than the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. You really want to keep people well and you're interested in prevention. Another motivation for studying public health is you're interested in equity and what lies behind the differences that we can see in communities and the kind of health outcomes that they see. So each and any of those reasons is a great reason to study public health. But the 2 main audiences that we see for this course are firstly students that are already in the health sector. You might be working in public health, but you don't have a qualification. If so, this might be a good choice for you because it's an entry-level qualification, a first one that you might start with. Another group that this qualification is really good for is people working in the sector but not in public health, a bit off to the side, maybe in the treatment services. And you're interested in moving into prevention or using some public health ideas in your current practice. And then the third group is the group of you who are maybe not that long out of school, wanting to start university and thinking you might like a career in public health and you'd like to dip your toe into the water. So any of those groups, you'll be very welcome. So, what will you learn through this qualification? Well, our certificate is designed to strengthen the foundations of your practice if you are already working in public health, and to help you gain some new skills and meet some other people that are in the same area, but perhaps, although working alongside you, have got a slightly different take on things. It is a community that you'll be taking part in. You won't be studying alone. And I think that's something I'd really like to say and encourage you about, that even if you haven't studied for quite a long time, the course is designed to be friendly and to help you through your studies. At the same time, it's challenging and interesting. So even if you already have a university bachelor's degree, perhaps, don't be put off by the fact that this is a level 5 certificate. There'll be something new for you as well. You'll learn about public health policy, public health communication, public health advocacy, the role of the Treaty of Waitangi in health, and a very important aspect of the course is understanding health inequities and how to address these to improve community health outcomes. So, what will you actually learn? It's taught online, so before I get onto the content, I'll talk about the process. It's taught online, and this gives you the flexibility, any place, anywhere, anytime. Almost, the course is set. You have 2 courses in the first semester and 2 in the second, so you have to follow that. But otherwise, you can work the course around your studies, your full-time work if you're working, and your family commitments. It's designed to be completed part-time, and it's made up of 4 courses, which you can choose to do over 1 year or over 2 years. So if you're doing it over 1 year, that means you're committing to 2 courses each semester, each half of the year, and if you're doing it over 2 years, you only do 1. And you need to allow about 10 to 15 hours to be sure that you can complete the course. It's a level 5 certificate, which means that it's your first, the same as the first year of a bachelor's degree, and there's no special entry requirements. Where can you go with this certificate? Well, once you've completed the program, you'll be prepared to take on a number of different roles. Myself, before I came and worked at Massey, I worked in a public health unit, and many of our staff had the certificate in public health. It was a valued qualification in a public health unit and a DHB. Other places that you might look for work are places like PHOs, primary health organisations, or other community organisations, non-governmental organisations, perhaps the Ministry of Health. There's quite a range of places that will be interested in you, I think, if you have a certificate in public health. So, in terms of the actual courses that you do, the first course that you're going to do is Foundations in Public Health, and that will give you an idea of some of the language and terms and frameworks that public health draws on. You'll also be learning about health communication. In the second semester, you'll move on to looking at Māori health and the role of the Treaty of Waitangi in particular, and you'll be looking at the social determinants of health and how to deal with this tricky and thorny problem of inequities. Okay, I think we're just about there. So to summarise, what makes this program really stand out? It's a great choice for you if you're already in the public health sector and you would like to gain a public health qualification. There's one thing I haven't mentioned so far, and that is that you've got the opportunity to apply for a Ministry of Health fees and travel grant. And you can find out more about that by contacting us here at Massey. But that's a real bonus with this course, is the subsidised study. It gives you the opportunity for flexibility in your study. You can work at home, you don't have to go to lectures. And it lets you build on the skills that you have and learn some new things as well, with a friendly, supportive online community. Thanks for your interest in your program. I do hope at least some of you decide to take up the opportunity, and I'll look forward then to meeting you. Ka kite.